Welcome back to your podcast, our podcast, the Popular Side Podcast. As always, he is Yinka Yusuf, and I am Akin Adike. Mr. Yinka, how
Yes,
are you
boss.
doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Yeah.
Well rested, kind of. Preparing
Oh,
for
that's
work.
good.
Preparing for work tomorrow.
Ah,
Yeah. Just saw the classical. The game
me
just
too.
finished. Yeah. And also the NBA is on. So
Yeah.
I probably watch a bit of that before I call it an evening. But yeah, all things good on the side. How about yours? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not a morning person. So the
Who is
offspring had a
anybody that is a morning person needs to be investigated.
You know, the
Uh,
offspring got an early game this morning. She had a 9:30 a.m. game, which means we had to be there at 8:30, which meant we had to leave home at 8, which meant getting up early on a Sunday, which I did not like. But they won. They won 3-0, and she played well. We had a few conversations last night about aggression and all that, and she put all that into the game. So you love to see that, you
Good,
love you love to see when they listen to you. So that was good.
good. That's
Uh,
that's nice.
yeah. So we're recording on a Sunday night on the 21st of April.
April. Mm-hmm.
Um, last week, I had some calendar challenges, so we recorded on Saturday instead of
Yep.
Sunday, and we missed a few games on Sunday, so we apologize for that. We're back to our normal schedule now, which is record on Sunday, premiere on Monday. So we'll be able to cover most of the games that happen on Saturday and Sunday.
If we had recorded on Sunday last week, it would have been it
Don't
would have
say
been
it.
crazy.
Don't say
It
it.
would have been crazy. The fact that we recorded on Saturday, right, kind of saved last week's podcast. It will have been bloodbath based on what
It
happened.
saved me.
You know,
It saved
it
me.
saved you.
Yeah.
You and your, like I say in Yoruba, "Okon fowo soya." You are doing
Yeah.
this. They gave
It
you
saved
breakfast
me.
at
My
the end
head.
of the day. They gave you breakfast, big time breakfast. But we'll
Oh
talk
my.
about it. We'll talk about it in detail.
So
So what
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 are
do
we
we
gonna
have
do?
this week?
Yeah.
What do we have?
So the WNBA draft happened a week ago. It happened on Monday, April 15th. We're gonna talk about it real quick. Like Yinka said, the NBA playoffs have kicked off. Before that, the absolutely unnecessary playing games happened, and
Oh
then
well.
we'll talk about all the top 5 European League games that have happened in the past week. Like I said, from last Sunday till tonight. El
Mm-hmm.
Clasico just ended. Honestly, I thought it was great. And then we have another GOAT 11, but this time not that we came up with. Someone else came up with it, and
Yeah.
we're just going to look at it and critique it. And it's the
Mm-hmm.
greatest Premiership 11. So that will be
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I haven't done Unpopular Opinion in a while. So I'm going to do an unpopular opinion. I guess newsflash, it's Arsenal related. And
What about
Yinka is
Arsenal
gonna.
this time around?
Well, it's actually very positive. It's a
Oh,
very
really?
positive. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll I don't want to spoil, but I'll spoil it. It's Arsenal
No,
fans
no,
need
no,
to be
no,
patient.
don't,
That's it.
don't
Yeah.
spoil it. Don't spoil
Okay.
it.
Already spoiled.
Oh, you
Yeah.
already spoiled it.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's okay. It's a very sobering, positive. Yeah, that's what it is. But we'll.
What we'll probably do? Okay, finish it first.
Yeah.
Finish it. I'll
Okay.
tell you what I have in mind later on. But we'll get
Okay.
to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
And then Yinka, you do your donkey of the week,
Yes.
and that will be it.
Yep. That'll be it.
But Yinka, we have
That'll be
some
it.
news. We have some news.
Okay.
This past week we hit 8,000 views. So thank you everyone who has been watching, sharing, liking, subscribed, all of that stuff. We love doing this. This is fun, but we really love the engagement. It's like talking with friends, and all however many hundreds of people who have watched this are all friends to us at this point. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, so let's get into it. And WNBA draft, Yinka, what do you
Yes.
think? How did it go? Did it live up to the hype? Was it everything you thought it would be?
I want to say yes. It lived up
Okay.
to the hype. It was everything I expected it to be. The when the president WNBA president came on board and was about to read out the number one pick, I was like, imagine if Fever, imagine if they don't pick Caitlin Clark. That would be
Oh my
like,
God.
no, my, that would have been, but that was the worst kept secret anyway. So Clark from Iowa, went to Fever as number one.
Yeah.
Cameron Brink from Stanford went to Spark as number two, as expected.
Yeah.
Then the first surprise of the day was the third pick. I think the drafts actually projected Rikia Jackson from Tennessee to go to Spark, but surprisingly, the Chicago Sky decided to select Camila Cardoso as three,
Yeah.
which then gave way for Rikia to go to Spark with the fourth pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Frankly, I was into, you have the details of the other picks, right? I wasn't too interested. It was those top four that I was really particular about. Those top four and Angel Reese.
Yes.
Surprisingly, Chicago also with their seventh pick, they took Angel Reese. So Cardoso and Angel will be on the same team, and they've been competing at different times in the past. So I think the Angel was quite excited that she'll be playing with Cardoso.
Which was
A lot of people
interesting because they literally fought each other on the court. So that was interesting.
Court, yeah. And a lot of people also thought, in terms of fit, that two of them do the same thing. So can they play together? So I thought it was kind of interesting what Sky did. But I mean, time will tell. What do you think?
Yeah. So, all right. So the Chicago Sky had two picks, right? They had the number 3 and the number 7. So, like you said, 7. They picked Camila Cardoso and they picked Angel Reese. For me, I think in the WNBA, defense still matters. Very different from the NBA where no one seems to appreciate defense. Yeah. So I think in the WNBA, you can be very successful with a defense first mentality. So I think I see what they're trying to do. Size also really matters, right? And you can teach the 6'7" that Camila is, and I think Angel has that, as they say, as the kids say, you have that dog in you, DAWG, so I think she's going to be tough. I think Camila is going to be tough. I think they're going to lead with defense. I liked it. But I think you started talking about this. I'm surprised one of them didn't end up with the Sparks, because the Sparks also had 2 picks. They had Cameron Brink. They picked Cameron Brink at number 2. And they picked Rikia Jackson at number 4. So now Brink obviously can do a lot of the things that Brink is pretty much like a hybrid of Cardoso and Reese, if you think about it, because she can do that mid-range jumper that Reese is known for. She actually has range, more range than Reese, so she can hit the 3. She can play defense, maybe not as well as Camila, but who can? But she's like a almost defense first center as well, with range. So I'm excited. The one thing that stood out to me though, and this is me being selfish. So Aaliyah Edwards, UConn. I'm a UConn fan. She went number 6. I think most mocks had her going number 6, right? But she went number 6 to the Washington Mystics. I live in the Washington area, and Angel Reese is from Baltimore, 40 minutes, up the road. So I'm a little disappointed that the WNBA found a way to not put one of their biggest stars, close to her hometown, and this goes back to what we talked about. That would have been crazy, so that was the one disappointment for me. So, and she could have gone, one spot early, to the Washington Mystics at number 6, but instead Angel Reese went number 7. But overall, and then two French ladies were picked outside of the college system. They were picked, I believe, let me check. Yeah, numbers 9 and 10. So again, that's also something, like top 10 coming outside of the college system. So I'm excited with where the WNBA is going. A lot of people are focusing on the money disparity between the men and the women, but I think I'm just patient by nature when it comes to these things. Like, it will happen. The WNBA did not happen in one day. So things will happen. It will happen. Just lower your expectations for how quickly everything is going to blow up. It will happen, and I'm excited, and I think these ladies will do really well.
And signs of things to come. Fever season ticket is already sold out.
It's amazing.
And Caitlin also already signed a shoe deal with Nike.
I saw that. So let's talk about that, Yinka. So the shoe deal thing became a big thing on Black Twitter, okay?
Yes.
And in the black corners of the internet. And the reason being, she becomes the 3rd current player in the WNBA with a shoe deal, and they're all white. So it's Caitlin Clark, it's Breanna Stewart.
I thought they're more than 3, but go ahead.
Oh, maybe with Nike, I don't know. But with signature shoes, it was.
So it's Stewart,
it's Breanna Stewart, and
Sabrina.
Sabrina Ionescu. So apparently those are the only 3. Yeah. Are there others?
Taurasi? Taurasi has a deal.
I don't know. Yeah, it's possible.
Taurasi has a deal. Deladonna has a deal, but Deladonna
that will make it even worse. They're all white
game. I know where I'm going to. Deladonna is stepping away from the game. Candace also has a shoe deal with Adidas, but I think she's also taking a year. Yeah, CP3. Candace has a deal. But I get what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's what the internet was saying. Yeah, that's what the
internet was saying. The 3 current ones are Stewart, Taurasi, that are sure to play this season. Is Stewart, Taurasi, and Ionescu. Yeah?
You mean Stewart, Clark, and Ionescu?
Stewart, Taurasi is going to play this season.
Oh,
Taurasi is still playing. Okay. So that makes, so it will now be 4. So it will be Clark,
4.
Taurasi, Stewart, and Ionescu. So I guess I know where you're going with this, Aja, right?
Yeah, it's not me, by the way. This is Black Twitter.
It's me. It's me. I subscribe to that school of thought too. So go ahead.
The controversy was the best player in the league is Aja Wilson. She's the best player in the league. She's a 2-time MVP, two-time champion, I believe 2-time finals MVP. I believe she's been a scoring leader, all of that stuff, right? I mean, she has the game that, everyone wants, you know what I mean? She's amazing. And the thinking is, where's her shoe, right? But I'm going to go slightly off of what everyone is saying on this one, right? Because I totally get it. I get where they're coming from, right? But I would argue that the problem is, someone said something to me at work the other day. They're like, we're trying to solve a particular problem. And they're like, hey, are we trying to get a bigger piece of the pie, or are we trying to grow our pie? Right? And that hit me. And I'm like, the problem with the WNBA is the pie is too small. Their pie is too small. Right? And I don't want to detract from that main problem. The main problem is the pie needs to grow. I've been really, 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 really annoyed by the keyboard warriors who have been posting about, Caitlin Clark is only going to make 75,000 a year, and then the highest paid woman makes 260,000. I mean, they don't count on the endorsements and even those that come through the
Yeah.
league, blah, blah, blah. You can make up to
Mm-hmm.
750, it's all funny money sometimes. And then, the highest paid man makes 50 million a year. So this is what I tell people. I'm really happy that arenas are selling out. That's really good. But Yinka, since the beginning of time, people have been selling out arenas and watching sports.
Yeah.
But if you look at the 50s, 60s, and even the 70s, players were still having to have second jobs because it's not the arenas that pay you millions. It's the TV money, right? So that's what you need to focus on, right? Because people were packing stadiums all over the world in every sport in the 50s. And the players were still bricklayers and plumbers and carpenters in the off-season and selling insurance in the off-season, right? Because it's just not enough money. So, and the fever are starting from the second worst attendance last year, roughly just under 5,000. So they have a really, really low base. Yeah. So even if Caitlin gives them a bump, I'm comparing it to the hype around Messi when he came here. Have you heard about Messi in America since the last? I haven't heard anything. I live here, Yinka. That hype is dead. You know what I mean? So, he sold a lot of Apple Plus TV subscription, and now he's just a regular guy. So that's my thing. I just want everyone to know, I don't think this is really gonna last. So you have to build slowly and deliberately, and just stop all these memes and nonsense on the internet.
Hopefully they will take your advice, which I doubt. But
I doubt it very much.
We'll see how it goes. And while we're at it, please get Aja her shoe deal. Thank you.
I know. I don't get why people don't instantaneously realize that's who you want, promoting your product. I don't get it.
She's smart. She has the character.
She looks good.
Play.
Yeah.
You said that. I agree with you. But
no, it's the truth. I mean, it's the truth. It matters to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Exactly. Right.
And she's a fashion. She's a fashionista. She's a fashionista.
When she won last year, at the exit interview, the coach actually said, what's her name? Becky Hammond actually brought this up, that why doesn't she have a shoe deal yet? It was said.
I remember
this was brought up, right? For Clark to get a shoe deal before her is not nice. Yeah. I'm not gonna hate on Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Aja deserves something. She deserves a shoe deal. Anyway,
you got to grow the pie. You got to grow the pie.
Yeah.
Grow the size of the pie. Don't focus too much on how much of the pie you're getting. If you're getting a lot of a little, you'd rather get a lot of a lot. That's my point.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's move on to the NBA playoffs briefly.
Yeah.
Very, very briefly. We're not going to talk about the round one games that are still going on. But the play-in tournament happened.
Lord.
Yeah, it did.
Lord.
And I know some people are not happy.
I am some people.
But surprisingly, the only major thing that happened is LA switched, the seeds. So they were 8th seed. They went into Pelicans. They went into New Orleans. They beat New Orleans. Was an interesting game, actually. I'm surprised.
It was. I watched it.
Oh, you did? Really? I thought you were not interested.
No, I watched the games.
Oh, okay.
I watched because, unfortunately, I've decided to do this little venture with you. So I got to watch these things that I don't want to
watch. So LA beat Pelicans. I think that was like 2 games in like 4 days or thereabout, because they were actually their last game of the season was in New Orleans. They beat Pelicans. That was a blowout. But the second one was very, very close. But LA won.
Zion dropped 40. Yeah.
Zion dropped 40. Then he got injured. think he had something with his hamstring, and
Yeah.
surprisingly, I watched the game. There was nothing. I didn't see anything dangerous or innocuous.
No, I think you could
He just
see
came
with the
down
way he
and
walked. Yeah, the way he walked off. Yeah.
anyway, so LA took 7th seed. Then the Kings dropped Washington. I'm sorry, I said Washington. Golden State.
Golden State. Yeah.
So surprisingly, the Golden State's dynasty. I think this is the
Warriors. Yeah.
last Warriors dynasty. I think this is the last we're gonna hear of them. I don't think Clay is coming back. I also do not think they should resign Draymond, which then leaves you with what's going to happen to Steph. But we'll discuss this in detail later on.
Okay.
On the other side, in the East, nothing surprising there. Philly, 7th seed, Miami, 8th seed. The playoffs have started already. No surprises yet. I don't think anybody has. I've not been surprised.
May I?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
will be remiss. You know exactly what I'm going to say. I will be remiss if I didn't point out that the New York Knickerbockers yesterday, against all odds, all the haters said the best player in the matchup with Philly was Joel Embiid, and they were right. He's amazing. He's just, when he's on form, there's nothing you can do about it, right? He can literally do everything, but the man is just not blessed with health. Unfortunately, he's another one who went up, made a great play, passed off the backboard to himself, and then came down and boom, he had to leave and then come back later. And then he shot like 2 for 11 when he came back. Brunson actually had maybe his worst game this season, but he still showed a lot of leadership and we still won.
Yep, he did.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing when I think about Randall is not there for us. And we're still doing what we got to do. So I was really happy.
I kind of think Randall not being them is the reason why Jalen Brunson.
I know
has actually stepped up his game, because Randall has this kind of me kind of mentality with the way he plays, and he kind of stifles everybody else. So when he's on his game, it's fantastic. When he's off his game, he struggles. He just starts pouting and he doesn't bring every other person into game. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
I like him. He's a good player, but I
wish he would focus on playing some defense, rebounding like a demon. But not trying to initiate the offense, right? The problem is when he was coming up, he was on really bad teams where maybe he had to initiate the offense or he was allowed to initiate the offense. Even when we went to the playoffs a few years ago, it was unexpected. And then we got there and we were exposed because he was like the major playmaker. And that was a problem,
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll talk about the round one games later on.
Okay.
I think it's too early to start going into them right now. So we'll move on straight into our preview and review of the 5 top leagues. We're going to football now, guys. The 5 top leagues in Europe. Like Akin said in the intro, we recorded last week on Saturday. A lot of things happened on Sunday. A lot of things happened on Sunday. If we had recorded on Sunday, the recording would have been significantly different.
You would have done it by yourself, because I was off in a corner crying into I was crying into my. Let's call it.
Oh my God! But before we go into the league that had the significant changes on Sunday, let's just do a quick trip around Europe, right?
All right, let's do it.
So we start with the Bundesliga. Leverkusen, like we've always said, they are now champions.
Yeah, unbelievable.
They won. Yeah, they won 5-0 last week on Sunday, and that confirmed that mathematically they are now the champions of the Bundesliga. They're still unbeaten as at today because they played again today. Away to Dortmund. Dortmund was leading until the 97th minute, and Leverkusen equalized. So Leverkusen deserve champions in the Bundesliga. And like we said last week, they don't have a superstar per se, but they have some pretty decent footballers. They have a very good coach. And to think that Granit Xhaka will win something before Arsenal, despite the hate from Granit Xhaka
You don't have to do this.
from
Yinka, you're better than
no.
this.
I have to do this. Yeah. So
You're better than this.
Full disclosure, guys. Akin, I don't want to say hate. I don't want to say hate, but Akin dislikes Granit Xhaka. And I've spent the past, how many seasons did Granit Xhaka spend at Arsenal?
Too
Probably, I
many.
don't know,
5.
5 or thereabout.
Maybe 6.
I spent the past 5 or 6 seasons defending, not really defending, but saying he's not that bad. The things he does are not obvious, to everybody. But the coaches that he plays for, they see it. But because Akin from Umuaran does not see it, does not mean the guy is a terrible player. This has been a constant discussion between myself and this young man.
Oh my God.
You believe that the Leverkusen coach Xabi Alonso, you believe he's the best. I mean, he's the hot cake now. He's a fantastic
I like
coach.
Him a lot.
He paid how much for Xhaka to get him from Arsenal?
Well, go on. 25.
You can't say
more
it's
than
too
25
much
million pounds.
because the evidence is there right now.
Yinka.
You can't say it's too much. Xhaka is
good.
Most likely
good for FFP for us. We're very happy with how much we sold him.
Xhaka is most likely going to win the Bundesliga Player of the Season.
I understand. For the second time in his career.
And that says second time in his career. And that says a lot to all you Arsenal fans because you're not alone, right? There's so many people on social media, right?
Okay.
That, oh God, you guys.
May I?
You have the floor.
Okay. So, as you will see in my unpopular opinion, I'm trying to be better in my older age, right? So, I'm a little more humble, less bombastic in my opinions about my club. Like, I'm just joking, but really, let me tell you my biggest problem with Granit Xhaka. I don't hate. I actually do not hate him at all, right? I didn't
say hate. I just said, I said it's quite close to it. Yeah.
So I spent most of his time. I spent most of his time at Arsenal really rooting for him. I needed him to do well, right? So, but here's the problem, okay? Arsene Wenger, that season, right after he was player of the season and captain at Mönchengladbach, had a choice to go for him or go for Kante, who had just won with Leicester, right? Yeah. I think Kante ended up going to Chelsea for 30 million or 32 million pounds. We paid 35 for Granit Xhaka. Xhaka came. We were in the Champions League the season before he came, and we never got back in the Champions League until his last season, which he didn't stay to play in. So I'm going to skip over all the shenanigans when he was giving the fans, as captain, giving them the finger under Emery. That was all very toxic. But anyone can make a mistake. I'm glad that he came back. They accepted him. It's all good. He had a fantastic season for us last year. Fantastic. Because Arteta moved him. The problem is Xhaka is not a defensive midfielder, right? When Xhaka plays as the most defensive of a midfield three, he has many, many shortcomings, right? You don't want him facing your goalkeeper, right? Bad things happen. So Arteta finally saw that and moved him to the left 8. I don't think either of us could have predicted. We thought he could play a decent 10. We've seen him play that for his country, for Switzerland. But he did that really well. But Yinka, you know what I noticed? Look, you have to elevate. You're chasing, and I'm going to refer to this in my unpopular opinion. You're chasing one of the best teams that have ever been put together at the club level. You can't, I'm sorry, like there were many instances I saw last season where a Shaka with maybe 20% more athletic ability would have made a major difference. He just has so many shortcomings. But I loved what he did last year. So good for him. I'm done.
So congratulations to Granite. He had a perfect season.
And to us, we celebrate. I mean, when he does well, we all do well. So whatever.
He only had one yellow card in the whole season.
That's crazy.
That tells you that Wenger or the whole Arsenal system, when he came on board, did not put him in the best position to succeed.
No, they didn't know what it was, Yinka. They didn't know what it was. Wenger told us this guy was a box-to-box midfielder. I'm like, he can't run. How can he be a box-to-box midfielder? But Wenger said he was a box-to-box midfielder, then played him as a holding midfielder. It makes no sense.
He's a deep line midfielder.
Playmaker.
Exactly.
That's what he is. Yeah. It's Pirlo.
So even
he's a more robust Pirlo.
In the Bundesliga with Leverkusen, he plays Andrich or Ezekiel Palacios plays central defensive midfield for Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Xhaka is just there to make things tick. And if you watch Leverkusen, you realize this young man is the heartbeat of this team.
No,
right?
No, absolutely.
It's night and day. Anyway, congrats to Leverkusen. They still remain unbeaten. At this rate, they have 10 lives, not even 9, because the number of goals they've scored in injury time is just amazing. Yeah. So kudos to them. Good team. We'll see them in the Champions League next season.
Yeah, they were in the Europa League against West Ham.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They had already won 2-0 at home. So they were away in London on Thursday night, and they were down 1-0, right? So they would still have gone through, but that would have ended their unbeaten run. And they came back and they salvaged a draw to keep the unbeaten run alive, which is just amazing, right? And then today, like you said, it was goalless for a very long time. Dortmund, who are on a high right now from what they just did to Atletico in the Champions League, Dortmund scores in I think it was 80th minute or something like that. It was a late goal, but for Dortmund as well. And they came back, and it's always the same characters for both of them, actually, right? It's the same guy for Dortmund. It's the same guy, one of 2 or 3 guys for Leverkusen, who are scoring all those late goals. So they just refuse to lose.
They refuse to lose. Fulkrug scored for, I hope I got that name right. There's a German international.
Number 17, I think, is what he wears. I think,
He got the first goal. He got the goal for. Then Verst gave the assist, but I think it was. I can't remember who scored the goal.
Was it Schick? I'm not sure.
It wasn't Schick.
Okay.
It wasn't Schick. It was a defender.
I
can't remember his name.
Okay.
Anyway, so congrats to Leverkusen. See you all in the Champions League next season.
I can't wait.
So let's quickly move on to the Serie A. Napoli lost again. So right now, there are strong chances that they will not make it to Europe at all. And I mean Europe, I'm not talking Champions League. I'm talking Conference League.
Conference, yeah.
Yes, they're not going to make it to Europe at all. So I might need to check, do some research. But that is the worst for me, not the worst. But that is so bad. That's a very, very bad fall from grace. You were champions last season, right? You didn't really change that much in your squad, and you can't make it up the next season, which is ridiculous. At this rate,
the coach,
I don't
right?
think.
Didn't they change the coach?
They changed the coach. Yeah, they changed the coach. I don't think Osimhen or Kvaratskhelia will be there next season.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Osimhen was a slam dunk anyway. Osimhen was gone. But I thought Kvara would stay. But at this point, Kvara is going to leave. And if Kvara is leaving, I think a lot of Premiership clubs that are looking for wingers should have a look at him.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a very, very good footballer. Yeah?
Yeah.
The Milan derby is tomorrow evening. Tomorrow being Monday. Nothing at stake except for bargain rights. Inter has won the league. The Milan derby used to be one of the. No, let me say used to be, but it was. I mean, if you're talking about derbies, those were
that was
the two teams
they were sharing the same stadium.
They play in the same stadium, exactly.
Yeah,
And you have families where the father might be supporting Inter, the mom is AC Milan, the
yeah,
first son, first
absolutely.
daughter. It's a crazy situation there. But I
Yeah,
mean, the game doesn't have anything at stake tomorrow except for bragging rights. So
yeah.
we'll keep you posted on that next week.
Yinka,
Um,
I have a soft spot for this new, maybe not improved, but new and revitalized Serie A. I think
mm-hmm,
world football is better when Serie A is purring.
mm-hmm,
I also have, I support everyone Nigerian. Um,
mm-hmm.
and when it comes to football, I support everyone American because that's the only arena that the American is the underdog. So
Yeah.
all my American kids who are playing for AC Milan, all the forgotten Nigerian British kids, playing for Roma and AC Milan. So I've been watching more Serie A than I guess I've watched in the last 5 years. Um, I hope they figure out their financial situation because they need to be able to bring in some real talent, to
Yeah.
keep up with Spain and England. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, when we were growing up, Syria
That
was
was
the
the league.
league.
That was the
That
league.
was the
Yeah.
league. It wasn't La Liga. La Liga only
No.
had two teams. Even till now, La Liga it was just
And
Madrid
nobody
and
watched
Barca.
the English league when we were really
Nobody
young.
watched the English league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't
nobody watched
until
the English.
I don't know,
The
maybe
the
15 years ago.
the, the
Yeah.
English league became something, right? When George Weah got to Chelsea, when Gullit and Zola got to Chelsea, when Kanu got to Arsenal, that's when
Yeah.
Nigerians started, you know. But before then, nobody cared. I still joke
Yeah.
till today. My brother, Abra, you know him. I
Yeah.
say he's the only true Chelsea fan that I know because he supported Chelsea when they had Dobry as a centre back, when they had
Yeah.
Scott Minto, when they had Dennis Wise. Not all these yesterday bread smelling like Cerelac Chelsea fans that'll be like, oh, see, sorry, I digress. The worst part of it now is I see people that started supporting Chelsea when the money came and when
Yeah.
Mourinho came, and when
Yeah.
Mourinho left and the success is not as as rampant as it was, people now say I'm a Mourinho fan. I've never heard that before. How will you be a fan of a coach or a fan of somebody? Say no, I'm really a Mourinho fan. Okay,
I don't know
that's
what to
new
tell
to
you,
me.
bro. So
It's new to me.
like you, my brother is also a Chelsea fan, and he's an old school Chelsea fan. He's a Dennis Wise, Gianfranco Zola fan, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I've had way too many Chelsea Arsenal conversations in my lifetime, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Moving on to quick trip to Ligue 1. Nothing to report again. Irrelevant games, I get it. But something struck me when I was just, combing through. The highest goal scorer in Syria and Ligue 1 is Kylian Mbappe. He
Yeah,
has 24 goals. Next is Jonathan David, the Canadian,
yeah.
with 16. Guess who's third and fourth?
Former Arsenal strikers, Aubameyang and Lacazette.
And Lacazette. Yeah. So Lacazette with
Yeah,
15, Aubameyang with 12. Yeah.
yeah.
So I just found that interesting. They were
Can I
like
can
these
I
guys
can I
are
say something about that? I thought about that a lot
yeah.
actually this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, plug in my unpopular opinion, my sober reflection on the state of Arsenal. I'm not sure Aubameyang had to go. I'm not sure he had to leave Arsenal. Um, I know it was an attitude problem, and it was a play problem as well. But I think it was a play that a coach could have fixed. Now, contrast that with Lacazette, who I love, but he couldn't run anymore, right? We were
Yeah.
playing a system where this man would do all the work. Like, he was playing like Jesus is playing now. but he no longer had the physical tools
He couldn't keep up
to
with
keep up.
Saka and
You know,
Martinelli. Yeah.
yeah, it was playing like Messi played at the World Cup, where some plays Messi was 30 yards behind the play, but Messi had the vision, he had all of that stuff to keep up, right? He didn't have Messi couldn't run, to be honest, like the rest of them. But Lacazette was running like me, Yinka. He had to go. But when I think about Aubameyang, I'm like, did he have to go, or was it a power play between he and the coach?
Nah, yeah, he had to go, bro.
Okay, all right, so speak on
He
it.
had to go. It's I don't think it's a sporting thing, right?
Mm,
And although the news or the details are not as, I mean, they were not, you didn't see them in the papers or on social
yeah.
media. We just heard it was discipline. But with some of the rumors that we heard, come on, man. Nah,
Mm,
he had to go. And I thought,
yeah. Disappointing.
if you look at you saw the Amazon series, the
Yeah, the
Arsenal All
documentary.
or Nothing
All or nothing. Yeah.
documentary. You saw the shock on Edu's face when he was told that Aubameyang was in Spain. Did you see that part?
I saw
And
it.
Edu looked at the lawyer and was like, "What's he doing in Spain?
Yeah.
Who gave him permission to travel to Spain? Yes, we're
It's trying to
discussing with
transfer
Barcelona.
himself. It's trying to
Exactly.
transfer himself.
You're supposed to be training. You're
I know.
supposed to be, you know. So
Yeah.
he became like a battle between his ego and the club, and something had to give. I don't think it was footballing at all. Yeah,
No,
as
I
you
know.
can see, the guy still has something he can deliver. He's been fantastic for Marseille this season.
Yeah.
Frankly, he's
I
the
watched
reason
them.
why they're in the semi-final of
Yeah.
the Europa League. Yeah, but you know that it was to send a message that even the captain, if he messes up, we
Yeah.
can get rid of him. Not to talk of you that you're just a squad player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
I think he had to go. He had to go.
So
Anyway,
Yinka,
that's
we were talking
yeah.
about Serie A, but we didn't mention the fact that I'm wearing a Juventus jersey for the first time on this show today. This
I
is
see.
a old school, very old school. I want to say early 2000s, maybe 02, 03, 04. One of those times.
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
I
the
can remember
Fast Web is the
Christian
Fast
Vieri
Web is
wearing
the
one of
sponsor.
these. So
Oh,
yeah, I think I can
ooh.
remember Vieri wearing one of these. So is it that? Would it be 2000s? Are you sure? Am I
When did
mixing it up?
Vieri play? When did, or rather, when did he last play? 2001, maybe two.
Probably.
Anyway, it's
Probably.
old. Is the
Anyway,
point? It's
it's
20
all.
years. What are you wearing?
What I'm wearing is the Newcastle.
Yeah, disappointing.
Let me stand up a bit so you see.
Disappointing.
It's the Newcastle. It's a nod to when we critique the um the the EPL 11. It's a nod to Alan Shearer, who I thought should definitely be on the list, and
I agree.
he was overlooked. But I mean, I like Shearer. I like Andy Cole. And so this is not an old jersey. It's quite new. It's one of the newer years. I mean, yeah, it's new, but yeah, I like the Newcastle, the black and white, the Juve. You
Classic.
know, they're quite similar. They're classic. Yeah, quite similar.
Classic.
Yeah, cool. So that's Ligue 1. Syria. We talked about Syria already, right? So we go to La Liga. Yeah.
Let's do.
Before we go to Classical, Girona won. They're still third. They're 7 points ahead of Atletico. Atletico played today. I don't know what the final score was.
I didn't watch that.
But before the game today, they were 7 points ahead of Atletico. So they're in third. All things being equal, I think they're going to be in the Champions League next season, which is that's one of the stories of the season if that is the case. Their striker, the Ukrainian tall guy, I apologize if I murder his name, Dovik, I guess. He's the highest goal scorer with 18 goals. Bellingham is next now with 17 because Bellingham scored today.
That's
Bellingham is
crazy.
next with 17.
That's crazy.
Then the Croatian striker Budimir with Osasuna is on 16, I think. Then fast forward to the El Clasico. I texted you earlier on and I said maybe to some. By the way, Atletico lost. They lost today.
Yeah, they're behind. They're behind Girona now. Let me see. Let me look at the standings.
They're still 7 points. They're still 7 points
behind Girona
because they lost. So I told you earlier on. I said one way or the other, the El Clasico had kind of lost its glory, and you'd kind of disagreed. You're like, nah, you still find it exciting. And our common friend kind of agreed with me. Was like, look at the roster now. There's nobody on this roster that you're looking forward to.
Yeah.
That is world class, But that's not what I meant by those games always. El Clasico always means something, But in this case, even if Madrid lost the game, Barca still, they can't catch them. I mean, not that they can't catch them. The probability of them being caught is so low. Yeah. So it wasn't really, the stakes were not that high.
That's true.
It just, I don't know. Or maybe in recent times, Madrid has given them the beat down up to the point that it's not a competition anymore. It seems more as if it's just Madrid is most likely going to win. What do you think?
And this happens, right? I would say in Messi times, as in Lionel Messi, it was pretty much the other way around, right? Where Barcelona was going to win the league. And then towards the end of Ronaldo's time at Real, they just started winning Champions Leagues, right? But they weren't necessarily winning the league, which is kind of fascinating in itself if you think about it. So I come at this a little differently. Number one, if Barca had won today, they would have cut the league to 5 points with 6 games to go. Right?
Yeah.
With 18 points, to win, if you're 5 points behind and you're not in the Champions League, I could see you doing something. Barca, I mean, newsflash, Barca went out of the Champions League in dramatic fashion. So I thought they missed a really, really great opportunity. And you know what? You don't have to catch them, but you have more young players. You need your young players to have that muscle memory of playing big, important games. The pressure cooker of it all. So you come back next year, whether with the same coach or not, reinforcement or not, Lewandowski or not. The kids are now not just kids. They're tough. You've closed the gap. Like someone like Bellingham just has it from birth, I guess. Right? I mean, this kid left Birmingham FC, right? At age 16 or 17. They retired his jersey, Yinka. Number one, you don't retire jerseys in Europe, in European football. It's not done. And you most certainly don't do it for a kid who hasn't turned 18. But this kid was born a man, okay? He never went through the kid phase.
And he has made them a lot of money.
He has made them a lot of money. So when I think about it, I'm like, your kids are Barcelona who are extremely talented. You keep minting them, but I don't know about what's between their ears. Can they stand up to a Bellingham? So they needed this run-in. And they disappointed themselves today because they could have won that game. In my opinion, they could have won that game. So one thing I would say though about where they're world-class players, whatever. Real Madrid, it's between. I told you last week when we were talking about. You asked, "Hey, what should we do first for the Champions League?" I'm like, let's do Real Madrid against City because that should have been the final. Those are the two best teams in the world. I say all this with Real having all the injuries. Doesn't matter, right? They're signing old players. Doesn't matter. There's an ethos in that team. you come in and you're immediately, you know how to pass. You know how to pass people open. You're stronger than you were at your old club. I don't know what they do, right? Physically, you cannot out physical them. Think about it. I don't. So, is it the coach? Is it some kind of invisible spirit that comes on you? Like Modric used to be small and play small. Now it's physical. Like, I mean, this guy's almost 40. Why is he stronger now than he was at Tottenham? It makes no sense, So you just got to give it up to them. Barca has a lot of work to do, in my opinion, to really take this thing back from them.
So I hear you, and I agree on the Madrid bit, but I think the whole of the Spanish league needs to cover their faces in shame. No, I'm very, very serious about this.
Okay.
You can't have a team that does not have a clear goal scorer. They don't even have a striker. Forget goal scorer now. At least Arsenal has strikers, just that they are not scoring.
Yeah.
Joselu is the only fit striker they have. No. They went the whole season without their centre back pair. Not the whole season, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Their goalkeeper,
David
Alaba. Goalkeeper. Yeah, Alaba and the Brazilian guy. What's his name again? Militao.
Militao. Yeah. He's back now.
Yeah, he's back. So Militao and Alaba are this first choice centre back pairing, or maybe Rudiger. Yeah. But
that's another thing, Yinka. That's another. Rudiger was full of mistakes at Chelsea, right? It was a head case, and then now it's like prime, Van Dijk. It makes no sense. He's up front trying to score in the dying minutes of the Champions League game against City. He scores a penalty. It doesn't make sense, Yinka.
So, which is why I say this. The whole of that league, it's a convenient league in the sense that no, hear me out. In the sense that every game is a particular style of play. It's an open book. You play your game, I play my game. Every single day, Madrid can afford to say, we are better than you guys. We can play better than you guys, and we will beat you guys. They don't have a situation where game one is, we're not here to play. We just want to make sure you don't play. That doesn't happen in Spanish league. They don't have a situation where the other team is saying, I'm going to outwork you. I'll chase you all over the pitch. I'll press you. I don't know how to play. I know, but I'll make life difficult for you. They don't have that. Yeah. So you see football, lovely attacking football, nice to watch. I enjoy watching it, right? But it is, there's no respecting your opponent. You will see an Alaves, an Osasuna. They'll come to Real Madrid, the Bernabeu, and they'll be playing as if we don't care. You can beat us 6. I'll play my football. You play your football. Do you know how difficult it is to break down teams that come to you to say, we know we can't play. We are not here to, but we will frustrate the life out of you. We will hit you on the counter where we have a corner kick. We have tall strikers, tall defenders that can bully you. So they are comfortable in that league, the way they play. They have not been mentally challenged. I keep saying this thing, you think I'm joking. That's why the toughest games Madrid has had this season.
Yeah.
The toughest game is that City game. Those 2 City games. This is
And they came out of it victorious.
But if you ask me, City, was that Madrid game the toughest game City has played this season?
Yes.
Hell no. I can give you
really?
5 more games. Yeah, of course not.
I don't know, bro.
Of course not.
I don't know, bro.
They've had tougher games. The 2 games against Liverpool, City won't die. Let me go into our local balance. The 2 games against Liverpool, City won. Even the Chelsea game they played just last week.
Yeah, that was tough. No, that was tough.
Just this weekend, this FA Cup game. City, that was tough. Even Pep had to come out and say, but you see my point. Compare that game with the game Madrid played with Barca today. It was like training ground. You play, I play. Madrid played Tchouaméni as a centre back today.
Yeah.
Madrid did not play with a striker. And that
So
game, it was like they were just toying with Barcelona.
Yeah, they split Rodrigo. Sorry, Vinny Jr. to the left, Rodrigo to the right to start, right, and then played Bellingham in the hole behind them. And I saw the lineup, and I'm like, what are we doing here? So
Exactly.
Bellingham has gone in one season. Is gone from like the future of CDM in world football to a false nine. And it doesn't matter because it's just an all-action player. It doesn't matter where you play him.
I open Akin. Just let me. Yeah. This is the Madrid lineup against Barcelona.
Go for
today.
It. Go for it.
Vasquez at right back. Vasquez is a right midfielder.
He's not a right back.
Kamavinga at left back. Kamavinga is a center midfielder.
Yeah.
Rudiger as center back. Agreed. Tchouaméni is a defensive midfielder. Tchouaméni is the second center back.
He's not a left-sided center back. No, he's not.
You now play Valverde, Modric, and Kroos in midfield. Modric and Kroos are relics. Well, not let me say relics in a bad way.
They are.
They are not. They're
old.
You get my point.
But and you Kroos played in the 2006
Rodrigo
World Cup.
Junior.
He played in the 2006 World Cup. No?
Exactly.
Did he play? Or was it 2010? He
did.
How old is he? Okay.
I think he did. He's probably in his...
He's 34.
Kroos is 34. Modric
was born in 1990.
Around the same age too. Modric is around the same age too. So you see what I'm saying. So they can go into the City game and they're like, this is mentally we are fresh. We are not as worn out as City. Mentally, that's why I told you. I said Madrid will win. Forget whatever City does. Told you Madrid will win, and the reason why I said that is they are fresher than City.
Yinka, it was 2010 World Cup, not 2006. Okay, it was 2010.
Okay, play 2010. Okay. Yeah, 2010 World Cup. Was it 2010? Are you sure?
It was 2010. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. It was his first call up. Earlier that year was called up to the team for the first time. Okay.
For the first time.
I'm like, was he playing at 14? Yeah. Okay, that's crazy.
So that's what's going on in La Liga. When Barca scored and I said Madrid will win. I wasn't expecting any surprise. But give it to Madrid. They recruit well and they are patient with their recruitment. They know what they want and they go get what they want. They didn't get a striker this season. Just say, you know what? Who's the best Spanish player that we can just... Oh, Joselu, you want to come around? They brought in Joselu and they're waiting for Mbappe. They spent a lot of money on Eden Hazard. He didn't turn out fine. They didn't panic, did they?
They moved on.
They just moved on. Oh, well and good. We'll get Bellingham. So Barca has the same clout as Madrid. But you look at Barca and you look at some of the acquisitions and you're like, really?
The kids, man. The Barcelona kids are
well, you say level. I agree with you. The Barcelona kids are players that they bring in through their own academy.
Yeah.
Madrid is looking at kids from all over the world. Valverde was picked up from Peñarol or somewhere. I can't remember the team. He didn't play anywhere in Europe before. They've done the same for Endrick. They've done the same for Vinny Jr. They've done the same for Rodrigo.
It's amazing.
What stops every other person from doing that? Nothing.
Conviction.
Exactly.
I mean, City kind of does the same thing, right?
And maybe support from the Spanish government, you know.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, think about Alvarez. Okay, you know what, Yinka, you've said a lot of things. So we said we were going to have this debate on this podcast episode this week. So let's have it.
No, not this week. It deserves a very, very fresh. Yeah.
Okay.
But I know what you're going to say.
Respond.
But just
respond.
Preview for our people.
Okay. So let me respond to your position right now, because I do not agree with your position that La Liga is easy for Madrid. So I like to give credit where it's due.
Okay.
People I trust and respect their football opinions did not have Real Madrid winning La Liga this season. That's the reality. When the season started, a lot of people did not have them winning. When the injuries started mounting, no, hold on, Yinka. When the injuries started mounting, a lot of people said, yeah, because Barca won last year. Many people had Barca repeating. And then what happened? Barca quickly fell behind, right? Girona, nobody predicted Girona, to be fair. And then when you look at all the recruiting all the injuries for Real, it was like, how are they doing it? But the preview that you're asking for is very simple. I am tired of people telling me that the EPL is the best league in the world. I'm tired of it, right? I think the structure is just different. I think the EPL has the most money. The average clubs in the EPL have a lot of money. I think that's really what it is. That's the difference between the EPL and the other top 5 leagues. I'm going to throw France out because there's just no corporate money in France. So they have a lot of talent. They don't have money. And without money in modern football, you can't do anything, right? You can't really attract talent or whatever. So only PSG has money in France. But there's a lot of talent. That's the league with the most talent, but there's no money. But when I think about the EPL, I'm like, one, I don't like the football being played. I think there's way too much hype. And then I'm thinking about, I'm like, by far, the best team in the EPL, in my opinion, is City. It's not even close. It's not even close. Like you said, all the gra that Liverpool did, they won one league. One. Once City decides we're going to win the league, it's over. If someone else has a chance, it's because you do everything perfect and then City take their eye off the ball. So what I was going to say is, look, you have Haaland, you have KDB, right? If they drop 5-10% from their level, you might have a chance. 5-10% at this level is a lot, right? Then you might have a chance. And that's kind of how I'm looking at Madrid of this season. So again, is La Liga not good, or are Real Madrid just really, really good? I think that's the big question for me. You know, I hear what you're saying, that it's easy, it's convenient. But City didn't think Madrid were easy or convenient. They struggled. And City is really, really good.
So, number one, I'm not a fan of using cup games, right?
Okay.
Or Champions League, or to assess, that game between Madrid and City can be played 7 times and the results might vary depending on whatever, right?
I agree.
So that's why when it comes to cup football, or some people say, oh, the Spanish teams have won much. I said, yes, I agree with you. But it's cup football. A lot of things happen in cup football. Yes, it's a positive argument, but at the same time, let's look at what is happening within these leagues and the level of competition that the teams are facing. There's a difference between having the best teams and the best players and having the best league.
1,000%.
If you tell me 1,000%, yeah. But you and I spent last week or 2 weeks ago bashing Atletico Madrid.
Oh yeah.
You're supposed to be the competitor for these 2 guys.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
what
about the players.
Doing?
They literally have all the players. They do. They have money too.
Doing?
Yeah.
So Barca is supposed to be the only. See, at every point in time, I know at the end of the day, it seems as if, City are just, at the end of the day, City power through, like the last leg, they get that extra juice and they power through. It is because City has been allowed to juice up in the early days, right?
Very true.
All this FFP and PNS that you're seeing is in reaction to City.
Yeah.
Because look at it now, Newcastle have the money, but they can't spend it.
They can't spend it.
Like the way City did. So all City is doing right now, City has already used, and I apologize for this analogy, they've already used steroids to juice up significantly. All they are now needing to do is to keep up that muscle level.
Yeah.
Which doesn't take as much energy as building it up.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to City. And that's why Newcastle can do the same. So this City dominance was not organic. It was bought. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, it was.
It was bought. Yeah?
And Liverpool's, just on that point, Liverpool's was orchestrated by Barcelona. Barcelona bought. It's true. Barcelona, checked their brain at the door. They checked their brain at the door. What's the name of the guy I'm talking about? What's the who?
Oh, you mean the person that bought or the player they bought?
No, the player they bought, the Brazilian, the little Brazilian.
It was Coutinho now.
Coutinho. They're like, we want him for 1,000 billion pounds. And Liverpool was like, thank you very much.
Thank you.
They took that money and they bought VVD and they bought
and the goalkeeper. Alisson.
Right?
Yep.
And then they were smart in going to Southampton and getting Mane. They were smart in bringing, in bringing in Salah, who had been, for whatever reason, mismanaged at Chelsea and all that. And that's how they built their club. That's how they built their backbone. They locked into it, and they found, they found a dumb club in Barcelona to trade with.
And since then, what have they been doing? Who's the closest to money? Let's go get that Diaz boy. That's what they're doing right now. So they have the template. It's just saying who is the closest to this guy, who's young, whose play style is similar to the. And that's what they're doing. Big ups to them. Let's move on to the EPL.
Oh, the
EPL. No.
Oh, my bad.
We need to talk about the EPL. No, Champions League.
Do we have to?
The EPL.
Do we have to?
No, we have to. So on Saturday, when we recorded last week, Akin said everybody has to win out, right? That Liverpool will win out, City will win out, Arsenal will win out. And I remember telling you.
That was 2 weeks ago, actually. That was 2 weeks ago.
Was that 2 weeks ago?
When I first said it.
I remember telling you that you need to be careful. I don't think everybody will win out. People will drop points where you least expected. And you're like, no, it's not going to happen. You actually said something. You said, I'm too cautious or something along those lines. I can't remember.
You are. You like to sit on the fence. You like to sit comfortably on the fence.
So when I was watching the game on Sunday and Liverpool lost in the afternoon, I was like, this is bad omen. I don't trust Arsenal's game. So when that game happened and the first half, Arsenal played like, they're probably their best half of football in the season, and they didn't score. I was like, because I knew it was going to come. You can't have that kind of game sandwiched between two important Champions League games where your focus is not really on that game. The focus is on the Tuesday game, or you have to play this irritating game, and you've played so well in the first half. I knew the focus would drop in the second half. I saw the writing on the wall that Arsenal was going to lose. And it happened. And Arsenal lost. Now, those two results, thrown a big spanner into the works. Now it's City's league to lose.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I was young and stupid last week. I apologize. No, but this is actually my unpopular opinion, which is everyone needs to calm down. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me quote you again. You said, you are what you do. Is that not what you said?
You are what you consistently do.
You are what you consistently do. And I told you form is a funny thing.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. You were right.
You can be up there and you crash, and you can crash for a long time before you pick up, or you can pick up instantly. You never know.
Yeah.
But there's something in football called form. That is exactly what happened to Arsenal. Exactly what happened to Arsenal.
So Yinka, since Christmas of 23, in this new year, still a new year, right? 2024. Arsenal have played, I think it's now 13 league games. They've lost once to Aston Villa. Right? I believe they've conceded only 6 times.
Yes.
I believe they've scored now 42 goals. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Their away form in the history of Arsenal, not the history of the Premier League, because people think football only started in 1992. In the history of Arsenal, going back to 1886, whatever, Arsenal have never been better on the road. Right now, we have an away form of 6 straight games on the road without conceding a single goal. A single goal. So the sky is not falling, people. What did they do? They went to second. It's okay. They lost a game. I was telling someone today, I'm like, the reason this feels like everything is on fire is because of Man City. Man City have set such a standard that if you don't win all your games all the time, everywhere you go, you look like a failure. You are not a failure.
Bro, you're my brother, right? But I have to call you out. I have to call you out on your BS at times.
Go for it.
One of your earlier unpopular opinions
Yes.
about Arsenal was what?
They're butlers. This was not it. One game is
Okay.
not butler. No, it's
Okay.
one game.
How about 2 games?
I think 3 games in a row in December was really, really bad. That was really,
No,
really bad.
I'm talking about the 2 games.
I know.
2 games that could have defined.
I know.
I mean,
I,
2 games that could have shown the whole world that this is who we are. Statement games.
Yeah.
Right?
So my position on that is this is who we are. And that honest,
Okay.
to be fair, that was my unpopular opinion. This is who we are. Where we were a 2-time 8th place team in the Premier League, and then a 2-time 5th place team in the Premier League that flirted with winning the Premier League, fell at the last 5 games. There were many pundits, right, who should know what they're talking about, who said we're not even going to make top 4 this season after seeing what they saw last year. Many people had Chelsea ahead of us. Many people had Newcastle ahead of us. So for me to come back and do it again, and what did I tell you like three episodes ago? I said, Yinka, I want us with 1 month to go to be in it. That's all I ask of this team right now. So this is not me. I'm not lowering my standards. But Yinka, I mentioned Mane for Liverpool, right? Mane, Firmino, and Salah. If I gave you truth serum right now, Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka as good as those 3 at the height? No, as a unit. Is it even close?
I still don't think so.
Is it even close? It's not even close. So I'm not crazy, right? I don't think we have world-class players. And then, so that's one thing. The quality of the players is number 1. And then the number of quality players. City has 18. City can play 4 different back fours every other game if they want. Arteta, and I would not say anything bad about this guy because I know if he left today, there's not very many great coaches in world football that can come and build this team up to where they need to go. That's the reality of it. I need everyone to calm down. But the reality of it is the drop off from Saliba to his backup is much steeper than the drop off of their counterparts at City. That's why we are. And then in spite of all that.
And even Liverpool.
But Yinka, in spite of all that, we have 5 games to go. And we're 1 point, pretty much we're 1 point behind the pace. We're ahead. I know we're ahead, but we're 1 point behind the pace. Or 2 points behind the pace. Like if they win their game in hand, we'll be 2 points behind. So now the real question is, do we now believe from what we saw of City over the past week, do we still believe that City can go win 6 straight? Because you always said...
Last week you said so.
No,
Last week you said City is going to win 6 straight.
Do we still believe it now after what we just saw? We just saw them against Chelsea and we saw them twice against Real.
Against Real.
It's a question because Yinka, if we had lost on penalties to Real, what would people have been saying? What would they have been saying?
The usual stuff.
Okay, why are they not saying it about City?
Because it's City.
Okay.
So, that's the honest truth. Because it's City.
So Yinka, again, give you truth serum of the remaining games for Liverpool, Arsenal, and City.
Yeah.
Are they all playing Spurs or is it just
everybody's playing Spurs?
Okay.
Everybody's playing Spurs.
Okay. Who is more likely to go to Spurs and lose of the 3?
It's City.
Okay. And who is playing Spurs on the road on the last day of the season?
It's none of them.
It's City. That's City's last game.
Is it?
It's the last game of the season, bro. Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me check. Yeah.
I think they moved it forward.
It's the last game of the season.
Their next game is against Spurs, isn't it?
It's Brighton. Arsenal's is Brighton away. It's their next game.
Okay. So that means they moved the Brighton game. Okay, was
Thursday.
the Brighton game.
They're playing on Thursday.
Yeah.
They're playing Brighton on Thursday.
So they went to Brighton on Thursday.
Yeah.
I see.
Which is crazy because they get 2 extra days of rest. But, Arsenal plays on Tuesday. home against Chelsea.
Home against Chelsea. Yeah.
So, and then my last thing I will say on this. Yesterday was Arsenal's 6th game in 18 days. That's a game, 6 important games every 3 days. City has the squad to do it. Frankly, no one else does. And then 3 days later, they're playing Chelsea at home. So, and then 3 days after that, or 4 days after that, away to the at the toilet bowl to Spurs.
Yeah.
So that will be what? That will be 8 games in what? 28 days? Something like that.
Yeah. Even if you stretch it back, it's worse.
Yeah.
It is worse. Anyway, so you get into more details with that on your Unpopular Opinion.
Yes,
Let me quickly wrap this up. So
wrap it up.
The top scorer award is going to be very close this year. I think people have decoded Haaland to some extent, and he has cooled off. So he's tied with Cole Palmer on 20 goals. We'll talk about Cole Palmer next week.
Okay.
Watkins is on 19, and Watkins is the only player that has double-digit goals and double-digit assists this season.
He's amazing. He's been amazing.
He's amazing. He's having a fantastic season. Then Salah, Ishak, and Shulanke are on all of 17 goals. I just thought that was interesting.
Very.
Arsenal won yesterday. They're back on top of the league. Liverpool won earlier on today away to Fulham, so still on the same points. Well, the same points with Liverpool. Luton and Sheffield Wednesday were hammered at home. So it's most likely both teams will be going back to the championship at this rate.
Yeah.
Quickly talk about the FA Cup games that happened.
Yeah.
City beat Chelsea yesterday, barely. Nicholas Jackson, like someone said, is -1. And I'm God. If he was part of Jackson 5, there will be Jackson 4.
You said that.
I did. They're part of Jackson 5, there will be Jackson 4.
A terrible
how
person.
he did not score any of those chances beats me. And after every Chelsea game, one striker that doesn't play for Chelsea begins to trend. So yesterday, it was Victor Osimhen. Some other days, it will be Gyökeres that plays for
Arsenal.
Sporting.
Arsenal apparently wants him. Yeah,
exactly. Or is Benjamin Sesko. Anytime Chelsea plays and Jackson, messes up, that happens. What do you think of that?
So I think everything happening at Chelsea right now is predictable. Again, we have family and friends who are Chelsea fans. What I would tell them is be patient, right? I do not agree with the way they built the squad. We spent many minutes on this podcast talking about it. I thought it was just extremely terrible. But you are where you are now, right? Pochettino is not Pep, but he can coach. He's been there before. He's been to a Champions League final. It is what it is. And guess what?
Yeah.
While the kids are figuring it out, you're moving up the table, right? You scored 6 goals against Everton. It's not all bad. I don't think Jackson is redeemable, but he's also young, right? I personally would just stop the experiments, play a false 9, play Cole Palmer as a false 9. They need to figure out what they're going to do about Sterling. He seems out of shape. He seems, he doesn't seem very interested in what's going on. I think they need to figure out that midfield. They have too many pieces coming in and going out. They need to figure out what to do with Caicedo. Can you play him and Enzo together? Should you play him and Enzo together? What kind of system can bring out the best in both of them? But they paid 100 million plus for each of them and feel like they need to play them.
Yep.
And that's the problem.
Yep. So in what you just said now, I had figured it out like 15 times. How many things you want to figure out? Go figure that one out. How many things do you want to figure out?
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Anyway,
yeah.
Then
they have talent. They have talent. They just
they do. They do. They just They need to figure it out, I guess. The second FA FA Cup semi-final
Mm.
was, oh God, where do I even start from?
Man,
So
you?
yesterday, if you remember,
Yeah.
after City won, what did I say on our group?
You were trying to be funny. You said something about City playing Coventry in the final. You know.
I said so. City play Coventry now, and one of our friends asked me. He said, "What?" He said, "Oh, have they played already?" and I said, "No. They face United tomorrow." You
Oh
know.
gosh.
So when United started off the game on fire and they were like 3-0 up, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe my
This is
joke
not
was
gonna
maybe
age well.
this is not gonna age well. Then all of a sudden it was 3-1. I'm like,
Mm. Mm.
okay. All of a sudden 3-2. I'm like, you better not mess this up, United.
Mm. Mm.
You better not mess this up. Alas, they did. And you know the worst part of this? Coventry should have won that game. They hit the bar, won,
Yeah.
and they had a goal that, in my opinion, that line is, come on now, you saw it.
Yeah.
That line
I
just
thought it
seemed
was a
to
goal.
overlap each other.
I thought it was a goal.
If that is the kind of decisions that I think Vieira should just let that go. That was
Yeah.
a clean goal for me. I thought that was a goal. And then they went into penalty shootout. Coventry lost. Chief, ex-Arsenal boy, he lost his penalty. And Hoyland scored his, and he was celebrating. You saw that?
And
He
nobody
looked
came
back.
to celebrate
There
with
was
him.
no single United. There was no single United player next to him.
Oh my
And I was
god.
like, I looked back, I'm like, so United players, you guys have shame. Or like your coach.
They were more
Who is,
relieved than happy.
they just went to shake the Coventry. Nobody celebrated with him.
Yeah.
Even the United fans, the staunchest of United fans were like, this is an embarrassment.
It was shocking.
Yeah. And my donkey of the week later on, a nominee is their coach, Eric Ten Hag. And I'll give you guys the reason later on. I'll just let that rest for now. Okay?
Okay.
But United fans, I don't want us to spend another week digging into you guys.
No,
So I'll just let
point.
you be. You've won. You faced it in the finals. Good luck with that. It's just a game.
It's possible.
It's one game.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's why I don't like cup football. Not that I don't like cup football, but cup football is what it is. Anything can happen
different.
in one game.
It's different.
Yeah? It's just different. So quickly, let's move on to the UCL and the UEL. We saw the madness that transpired. No, we'll just talk about it briefly. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is you, Akin, because due to work commitments, I didn't watch any of the games, so it will be unfair for me to be commenting on the game I didn't watch. I only saw the highlights. So, what do you think? Go ahead. You have the floor.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember the order in which they happened. Let's see. So who played on Tuesday?
Was PSG Barca?
Oh,
PSG Barca.
Yeah, PSG, and then PSG Barca.
Atletico Dortmund was on Tuesday too.
Yes, okay, I get it now. And then
Arsenal and City games were the same day.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the PSG one was interesting. There was a very, very controversial red card. I actually thought it was a red card for the Barca defender. I've seen them not given, to be honest. And we talked about it in the El Clasico today. You know, there was a yellow given to Camavinga that if it was the same referee, that may have been a red. So I think that turned the game. That was in the 27th minute. So Barca had come in with a 3-2 lead from France. Came into this game at home and scored the first goal. So they're now up 4-2, you know, and then everything fell apart when they lost that goal, you know. And then the problem is though, once you give Mbappe just a little bit of room, he remembers his Mbappe and starts doing Mbappe things. But it was actually not the biggest story. The biggest story was Dembele. So obviously Dembele made his big money move to Barcelona. I believe he was there 6 years. He was injured half the time. It was disappointing. There was a year he just didn't know how to play ball, Like he was either
Yeah.
injured or totally terrible. So he was catching a lot of flack because when he scored in France, he celebrated, right? And then he comes back to Barcelona and he's catching a lot of flack from the fans. And then he scores again. So I thought that whole thing was interesting. But then Mbappe scores. Barcelona went from, we're definitely winning this. We're 2 goals up. Yinka, what would have happened if there were away goals? I think Barca would have been coming home with even more of an advantage, right? Because they scored 3. They scored 3 in France, and then PSG would have had to score an extra goal, right? So I think in all, we still think it's better to not have the away goals. I think we still think that's better.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. The madness that was Atletico versus Dortmund. Yinka, what did I tell you about Atletico? Last week I said it's always chaotic with that coach. I think it's just the way.
Yeah.
That's the way his brain works. So there were 2 forces going against each other. One, Atletico in Spain won 2-1, right? They led in a late goal by Dortmund. So we both said they will come back and regret that. But I think you had Atletico going through. I had Dortmund going through even before they played the first leg. And the reason I said so was I'm like, Dortmund will score at home. That's just what they do. When they're on form at home, I think very few clubs in the world are better than them. They don't have the best players, but it's just the DNA in them. They will score at home, right? So they were actually, so let me see if I remember this correctly. So they were down 2-1. They came home. They scored a goal. I believe they scored first. It was 2-2. I believe they went up. It was 3-2. Then I think there was a 3-3. Was there a 4-4? I'm trying to remember. Because then they now went on and scored 2 goals in about 3 minutes. And that was the end of it, and I'm just like, this was a crazy, crazy, crazy game. And it was the chaos I was expecting. It was all the chaos I was expecting because, Simeone is involved. Why do you think it's like that though? Why is everything he does always so chaotic?
I don't know. When you don't have content, maybe that chaos is to mask the lack of content and value. But at this point, I think he's significantly overstayed his welcome at Madrid. He should not be their coach. Next, I don't know why, and he's the highest paid coach in probably in European football.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. I don't see what he's doing. I'm sorry, I don't. Anyway,
yes. So I'm just checking now, just to be sure, right? So Dortmund came in 2-1 down, right? They scored 2 goals, so they go up 3-2, and then they concede.
Then Madrid scored 2
own goal. They concede by own goal. Almost. It didn't. Obviously, no one ever means their own goal, but he's trying to defend, and then he just taps the ball he knocks it into the ground and goes into his own net. So then it's 3-3, right? And then Korea scores, and Atleti goes up 4-3. And then that's when all hell breaks loose. 7 minutes later, Fulkrug, the same guy, scores. Sabitzer, who I think provided the assist for Fulkrug, now scores. So in 3 minutes, they scored, numbers 3 and 4. They win 4-2, 5-4 aggregates, and that was it. All right. So then we go to Wednesday. Yinka, I'm gonna talk about Man City versus Real Madrid first. So I believe Man City had something like 30 shots in that match and could only score 1 goal. And it was crazy. They had 64% possession. Yeah, they had 34 attempts at goal. Real had 8. Right? UEFA gives you a stat called just attacks. Man City had 120 attacks. Real Madrid had 19. Man City took 18 corners. Real took 1. This is not over 2 legs, Yinka. This
just
is
one
in
game.
the second leg in Manchester. Man City's passing accuracy was 93%. Real's was 85. Passes completed was 865 to 402. Passes attempted 932 to 473. They both recovered roughly the same number of balls, 38 to 7. It's crazy, Yinka. But can you believe it? 34 to 8 attempts, 120 to 19 attacks. So again, we say whatever we want to say about Real Madrid, but when the time came to defend, they defended. You had people you've known all their careers not to be defenders. They turned into extremely great defenders. I think there's something going on at Real that we just have to give them props for. And then something happened. So they went to extra time. It was still 1-1. And then they went to penalty kicks. The big controversy with the penalty kicks was before Bernardo Silva took his penalty kick. A Man City fan stole the ball. He went into the stands and stole it, and they couldn't get the ball back. So Bernardo Silva waited for twice as long as any other player waited to take their penalty shot. So it's not being reported. People aren't really talking about it, but that actually happened. I think someone asked Pep about it. So it took roughly double the time. Again, we're not talking like 5 minutes here. It's still a few seconds or 1 minute or whatever it is, but it's twice as long. So
are you saying that is the reason why
No, I'm not saying that.
But borderline Panenka the ball, because I saw his spot kick. That is the lamest spot kick ever.
I know. It's
just like Casemiro's spot kick earlier on today.
Yes.
Come on.
I think anytime the goalkeeper can get an advantage, it can be, holding the ball, talking stuff to the attacker, because the attacker has 80-85% of the advantage. So whatever you can do to turn him off just a little bit can help. But the reality is he stood there for double the time anyone else stood there, and he missed. That's the reality. Bellingham took a beautiful penalty. It's just the kid is Teflon. Kid is really amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then there was one.
The Bayern Arsenal game.
Arsenal versus Bayern. One.
I actually saw the highlights of that one.
You did?
I think that's the only one I caught. No, I'm not taking it. You watched the whole game.
You're gonna make me do this.
So, and you confidently said you're going into Bayern and you're winning. And I remember telling you you're going into Allianz Arena. Allianz Arena is
still don't care.
Okay. Now you care because you got beat.
Let me put it this way.
Okay.
Remember what you said about the Aston Villa game in the first half. It was pretty much the same game. It was the same. So the weather was terrible. It was very foggy. You were right. The Allianz Arena was like crazy loud and all that. This time, I didn't see a lot of refereeing decisions. I don't remember any controversial decisions. So kudos to the referees on that one. I really don't remember. I think, I don't remember. Maybe. Oh yeah, there was one. There was at the there was a Neuer, pushing the ball to should have been a corner kick. And what's his name? Odegaard was losing his mind because the linesman didn't see it. And I'm like, how could you not see that? Like the trajectory of the ball, like how does the ball go out if the keeper hadn't touched it? So that was very disappointing. But when we're talking corner kicks,
what then happened out of that?
Go kick.
Nothing.
Go kick.
That's not
No,
a
but it was towards
controversial
the end.
decision.
That's what
That
I'm saying.
happens every day.
No, but
Oh, it was
it
towards
was
the end
towards
of
the
the
end.
game.
It was almost maybe injury time. So that. But again,
I
if
see.
that's your biggest controversy, you've done okay as a officiating crew. So Arsenal were the better side in the first half, although Bayern took a few pops at goal. Right, a few pops.
Yeah.
I think a more informed Martinelli could have done some damage. He had a few chances, tame shots, all of that. And then in the second half, Bayern were much better. They just took over. They took over, and Martinelli lost his marker. Oh, sorry, his mark rather, not his marker. He was the one that was supposed to be marking them, and Kimmich just stole in and just headed the ball in from across.
And headed the ball.
Yeah, from across. I forget who crossed the ball. Came out of nowhere. There was nothing the goalkeeper could do about it. That was 1-0. What was disappointing to me was that one goal in the 64th minute was sufficient, because Arsenal never looked like equalizing after that, if I'm being completely honest. Never looked like equalizing. It was not going to happen. It was not going to happen. Everything was tame. There was one, this may have been in the first, I don't remember, where Rice actually was able to marshal the ball, and then what's his name? Martinelli just kind of hit it, try to flick it, and he just hit it straight at the goalkeeper. There was no threat.
Bottom line, your team bottled it?
No, I wouldn't say that. The reason I say that is, again, I want to keep some perspective, and because this is our last Champions League, I can just let me just do my own popular opinion on this. It's we're changing the format a little bit. My own popular opinion is Arsenal fans need to relax. They just need to calm down. Perspective is needed. Right? This is not me making excuses. I do not make excuses in my life or in my sports watching life or whatever. Right? We're not as good as City, but we can win the league over City, but everything has to break for us. Everything has to break just right for us. And we need, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. And the only reason we even have an opportunity is because you said Haaland has been figured out. And that's one thing I believe Arsenal fans don't understand. This is a league that pays a lot of money to coaches, probably more than any other league. So on average, there are some really good coaches, and then they have very deep coaching staff. You have, what do you call them? You have dead ball coaches now. You know what I mean? Someone who's coaching throw-ins. It's crazy. So when Arsenal comes out with Zinchenko inverting from left back into midfield, that's good for 3/4 of a season. You can't come back with the same thing the second season. It's not working, Yinka. It hasn't worked. It's been figured out. Saka has been figured out. People think I'm being critical of him when I say he has to get twice as good. Those are the levels. He's been figured out. Jeremy Doku, why was Jeremy Doku more effective when he came in for Grealish? He's not a better player necessarily than Grealish. And Grealish had a good game against Real Madrid, by the way. He had a really good game against Real Madrid. But Doku came in. Doku has not been figured out yet. They don't know. Right? So when one is very elusive and all that, yes. But so are a lot of other people. Martinelli is too. But Martinelli has now been seen for 4 seasons. They know what he's going to do. So my disappointment is not once did Martinelli and Saka switch wings. Just try something different.
Yeah.
Just try something different. Odegaard has been figured out, right? And if you don't believe me, our best player this season is Declan Rice. He's been playing his worst stretch in the last 4 or 5 games. Why? He's been figured out. Now is the time to bring Partey in and help him. So he's not the only brain of the operation, the brawn of the operation, the everything of the operation. Coaches in the EPL will figure you out. Saliba is making more mistakes than he made last year. He's been figured out. You know what I mean? And that's what coaching does to you. You know, that's why this guy, Pep, would never allow himself to go stale. Pep will cut you off 2 years before your expiration date because you always have to keep it fresh. So I think Arsenal fans don't get this, you know, and you've always said it. They think Arsenal is better than what they are. I am not disappointed. I'm not disappointed with where the club is. You know, I'm not going to use the results to now come back and club. I don't want to say club, you know, pardon the pun, but to now come back and beat up the club. You know what I mean? Like, the result for me doesn't justify or doesn't explain what happened. I care about the process. And the process is, this is a really, really, really good team that is not yet complete. Yeah. You know, they might be 85% of the way there. Yinka, you said something, you've said it a few times, that if Saka can ever become 70 or 75% of Salah, it will be unstoppable. Think about that. Yep. So what percent of Salah is he right now? 50? It could be as low as 50. The only thing I would say,
if not less
than. So I think Arsenal fans underrate how great Salah is. This guy is special. Now, the two things I would say in mitigation is Saka is better at 22 than Salah was at 22. That doesn't guarantee you anything, right? Because you can hit your peak at 22. It doesn't happen often, but it's possible.
You have early bloomers and late bloomers. Yeah.
You know, but the good thing is Saka doesn't depend on his speed. It really doesn't. It doesn't really depend on being elusive. It plays with his brain. So that's why I feel like if they can manage his, you know, physicality and all that stuff, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think Martinelli can lift up his head a little bit and, you know, and get better. All of these guys need to get better.
Mm-hmm.
When I said we were going to win the league this year, it wasn't just because we bought Declan Rice. It was because I'm expecting a 10% improvement in our young players. That's going to happen every year, you know? So everyone needs to calm down. The sky is not falling, you know? Yes. You lost to the worst, people say the worst Bayern team in years. Okay, that's true. But context matters. We made 2 mistakes in London. We shouldn't have done that. But it happened. You know, but the sky is not falling. The sky is not falling.
So Akin, I hear you. And I kind of agree with you. But what I don't like, and this goes to, I mean, I see a lot of Arsenal fans do this. It's trying to rationalize what's going on.
Okay.
In terms of, it took Pep 10 years. It took Klopp this years.
That's not me.
I'm like, guys.
That's not me at all.
Yeah. I know that's not you. I'm just saying some other people, most Arsenal fans are like that though. I'm not like that. You're not like that. You can accept the fact that, yes, this team messed up. Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You don't need to make it seem as if, what do you mean? Are we the only ones? We're not the only ones. It took Pep, so. Yeah. It took Klopp. I'm like, no. Why must you compare yourself to them? They've done their own bit. That's their fate. That's their cycle. Yeah. You chart your own pass. Don't use them as the benchmark. If your team is messed up, own up and said, this guy's messed up. But hey, do you understand? Not trying to say, is expected. No, it's not. No. Don't say it's expected. It's not.
Yinka, because people think...
You keep saying this. There are standards.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, people think these things are linear. You know? That, hey, you do this, then you do that. No, sometimes you can bring in special players and special situations that would accelerate your development. You know? So again, you put a Messi on Newcastle. Newcastle looks different. You know? And the fact that Newcastle is not taking the leap like everyone expected them to doesn't mean they don't have a good coach. So it's this nuance that people need to kind of think about. For me, I'm like, So again, I'm trying really hard not to criticize Arteta, but if I would say something, in mild criticism, it's who do you want your bench to be? Do you want Jorginho type players who have been there, done that, may not be as dynamic? Or do you want a bunch of academy players who we know are not good enough? Like Reece Nelson, like Eddie Nketiah. You gave them big contracts, right? So again, in mitigation, what I think happened there was they're looking at FFP. When you have a academy player, it's pure profit when you sell them. If nobody cares how much wages you pay him, you bought him for zero.
And Akin, it's cheaper on the long run.
Yeah,
and you
that's
need
what
bodies.
It is. Yeah.
So when people were complaining about the contracts, I'm like, do you know how much it will cost to replace Nketiah?
Yeah.
It is way cheaper for you to give him 100K per week and preserve his value so that you can sell him
for 40 million.
If you don't give him, he goes on a free, and you have to pay out of your noses to buy a decent player.
2 years ago,
FFP.
Yeah. No, 2 years ago, it would have been like
is strangling everybody.
Yeah, it would have been like a Dominic Solanke before he scored 17 goals. And it would have cost 40 million 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So these things matter.
Yeah.
These things matter. I get your opinion is not as unpopular as you think it is.
No, thank you.
Well, it will be unpopular to a lot of people, but it's not unpopular to me. It's just surprising that it's taking you a long time to get here. I've been here for a very, very, very long time. No, it's true. I'm the one that is always trying to, and one good thing you said, I mean, a lot of people are kind of ignoring. Arteta himself is evolving.
He's learning. Yeah.
He's learning. Even Pep is learning, and Pep is way ahead of Arteta. Yeah. So, and see, this team might go 5 years and still not win anything. Nothing is guaranteed.
I hope not. But
nothing is guaranteed. If someone sat you down and said, with all these clubs, Klopp only won one EPL, right? Do you understand? You'd be like, really? He only won one? He only won one.
Yeah.
And he's challenged for 8 of them. Yeah. All the 8 years he's been here, he's challenged all through. So nothing is guaranteed. So you're right. Arsenal fans need to be patient. Yeah. Nothing is given, nothing is guaranteed. The fact that you spend £1 billion does not mean you will win anything. Ask Chelsea, ask United. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. So they need to take it easy. So, Akin, do we want to quickly critique this? Or do you want us to push it to next week, or we should just quickly run through it? What do you suggest?
Why not? Let's quickly run through it.
Let's quickly.
Yeah,
run
I would have to share my screen.
Good.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so Yinka and I came upon this greatest Premier League 11, and we thought, let's have some fun with it. We've done a few GOAT 11s. But this time, neither of us has done our GOAT 11 for the Premier League. But we thought we'd start with this. Maybe in a couple of weeks we might come back and do a GOAT 11 ourselves. So Yinka, you want to start? You want to start with the goalkeeper?
No. So why don't we do this in a different way? Yeah.
How would you like to do it?
There are some people that I don't have a problem with.
Okay.
Slam dunk, they're on this list.
Okay.
So let's just agree on those people and we can move on and we can then focus on the quote and unquote shaky ones. Right?
I'll say Henry, Lampard, Gerrard for me.
Really? Lampard, Gerrard?
I don't think, if we're talking midfielders.
Henry slam dunk.
Okay, for me, all right, I agree. You don't agree on Lampard?
Henry slam dunk. I don't agree on Lampard.
Do you agree on Gerrard?
With the 3 that you have here. Yeah, I agree with Gerrard.
Okay, so Lampard is not a slam dunk for you. Okay.
Lampard is, even Gerrard is also not a slam dunk. And
really?
It's when you think of people like Paul Scholes and Patrick Vieira. And you'd be like, okay.
Yeah. But you know what I would have done. You know what I would have done. I don't think Giggs can make it. The Giggs is here based on
Gi-
longevity, so I would bump Giggs out and put
not,
Vieira.
not necessarily,
Mm.
right? Not necessarily. Giggs won a lot of stuff, and he has the highest number of assists in the Premier League till today.
Okay, good for him. He
Till today.
He also played 55 million years, so whatever.
No. But you have people that played more, right?
Okay.
So I think Giggs, and people seem to, there's this recency, whatever that
Yeah,
happens.
recency bias.
People
Yeah.
think, I've said, Giggs was the star player in that class of 92. Giggs was the first person to break into the first team. And he was by far, if not the best player in that squad, in that class of 92. Yeah. So maybe the midfield is a bit whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some other contentious people that I will talk about. But the longevity even matters. You can't ignore the longevity.
That would be the
at
problem
times.
with our Vieira. Is the longevity. If you're comparing Vieira with Gerrard, it's not the class thing. Vieira was a higher class.
How many seasons did he play?
Vieira came in. He left in Did he leave in 05? After winning that FA Cup?
I can quickly check that, actually.
I think he may have left after that FA Cup win when he scored that penalty against Man U.
Yeah, that was his last kick for us.
That was his last game,
actually.
and it came in a year before Henry, I think.
So he spent 9 years at Arsenal.
Okay, that's enough. That's long enough.
That is more than enough.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Right?
I thought it was shorter. Yeah, I don't need 20 years.
So Henry, Cole is not contentious whatsoever.
I agree.
John Terry is not contentious.
I agree.
I might say Ferdinand also is not contentious, but I thought of a couple of people: Tony Adams, Sol Campbell.
Yeah, there's a few people. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, so for me, the two slam dunk that I have here, slam dunk, unfortunately, or three rather, is Terry, Cole, and Thierry Henry.
So I agree with your three.
And Thierry Henry.
I agree with your three. I agree with your three.
So if we start from the goalkeeper now and we move up, right? There's no way Czech should be here. I don't know. So Schmeichel for me.
Yeah, I think it's here because of that 15-goal season where Chelsea only conceded 15 goals. I'm pretty sure that's why.
But see, that is not his sole doing, if you get what I mean.
No, I know. Terry,
the defenders contribute significantly to that, right? But I mean, comparing Czech with Schmeichel, come on now.
I think we can both agree.
I think we can agree. Check out Schmeichel.
Okay.
Right? Now, move up a bit.
Okay.
See right back,
Yeah.
Gary Neville. If Gary Neville were to be playing football today, the only club he will play right back for is Sheffield United.
Oh my God, you're a terrible person. But you're not wrong.
But it's unfortunate that I look through the long list of right backs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. But frankly, I can even put Walker ahead of him. Aspilicueta, Lauren.
Yeah.
Even Trent. So for me,
Trent can't defend. Trent can't defend.
Yeah, that's why I said even Trent. So
I'll go with
replace
Walker.
Neville.
Yeah, I'll go with Walker.
Replace Neville with any of those three. So Walker is fine with me.
I'll say Walker.
Neville doesn't deserve to be here.
Yeah,
then
I agree.
Up top, let's start with Aguero. Aguero, fantastic player, I love him to death. But you cannot have a Premiership all 11
without
Alan Shearer being
I agree.
It's just is blasphemous.
Yeah.
So Aguero, you can step aside. Yeah?
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I'm going to be controversial a bit here.
Of course.
If we're talking about the players that's ever graced the Premier League, Ronaldo should be here. But if I look at Ronaldo's body of work while he was at United, does he really deserve to be here?
Did he win the Ballon d'Or at Man U? I think it did.
Did he?
Yeah, the 42-goal season. The 42-goal season was at Man U. 2008. He didn't go to.
But
He didn't.
my my opinion on
No,
Ballon d'Or.
but I'm talking about what led to when he scored 42 goals. That was a big deal in England. It was a big deal for him. It was a big deal. For, it was something. I don't know if anyone had
Which
done it.
season did he score 42 goals?
I
Was it
think
42
the
goals
08.
in all competition?
Yeah, all
That was
competitions.
in all
competitions.
competition.
All competitions. Yeah.
Because Ronaldo scored 84 goals for United in general.
So half of them was in one season.
Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. I think it was still at United. Okay. When did he leave United?
We can double check that. So he played 6 years for United. Okay. 6 years for United, scored 84 goals, 196 appearances.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the greatest ever players to grace the EPL, yes, definitely. But I'm just a bit worried about his body of work, right? At United only. But he's not as egregious as the Czech or Neville, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I can leave him on there.
Yeah. He was playing for Man U when he won in 2008. Oh, okay. He was playing for Man U.
Okay. But if he won in 2008, he left United in 2009.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you mean. 8 years. He was young. But that height was really high, is what I would say. Honestly, who would you put? Who would you put up top? Would you do Aguero over Ronaldo, for example?
No, I won't.
Really? Okay. No, what about Rooney? Rooney over Ronaldo?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go with Rooney.
I actually had Rooney in mind.
We'll go with Rooney.
I had Rooney in mind.
Yeah, we'll go with Rooney.
I mean, Rooney is the third highest goal scorer in the EPL. I mean, assist is the fourth. He's up there. I
would argue he's underrated. Up there. I would argue Rooney is one of the few Man U stars that is not overhyped. He's underrated. Yeah, because he did all the dirty work.
Yeah. So for me, it would have been Shearer, Rooney up top with Henry.
I agree. I like that.
Then in midfield, I will keep Giggs. I don't know why. If he was he was United's poster boy for a long time. Before all these Ronaldo, Rooney came on board, and he was still able to he still delivered to some extent. Maybe not as a winger anymore, but as a midfielder.
That's the thing.
I mean, and the longevity matters.
But was he a midfielder? Was he really a midfielder?
No. He started off as a winger. He was an electric winger.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Then he came back into midfield. The way I see this formation is it's a 4-2-4. That Giggs is actually a winger, left winger. So 2 strikers, then Ronaldo on the right. That's how I saw this before.
Okay.
Right? Then for the Lampard-Gerrard bit, frankly, if I was to pick between one of them, I'll have gone for Gerrard.
Yeah,
right.
He's the better
ahead
player.
of Lampard.
He's a better player.
Yeah, but I believe the best English midfielder that we've seen in a long time was Paul Scholes. So if Paul Scholes and Vieira is not here, I feel one way about it.
Okay, so give me your 3. Give me your 3 in midfield. Then I'll give you mine. Premier League era.
Yeah, I think mine would just be I'll replace Lampard with Vieira.
So you're going Giggs,
Vieira and Gerrard. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
I think that's it.
I would have Vieira. I would have Toure.
Yaya?
Yeah, Yaya, and I would have Gerrard as my
once
3.
Again, body of work.
I know.
If this list had been greatest players to ever grace, I'll probably have Yaya there too. But in the EPL,
I know,
right? Yeah. So Yaya was hot for very, very hot for how long? How many seasons did he play for you? For City?
I mean, I don't know, but he was hot for like 5 seasons.
Yeah. You see, that's where That's why I wouldn't. But I won't frown at that at all.
Yeah.
I won't frown at that. I won't frown at that.
For me, it's
I won't
hard
frown
for
at
me
that.
to evaluate Giggs as a midfielder because his height was as a. But I know we're conflating 4-4-2 and 4-3-3 and all that. So
Yeah.
there's no perfect way to do
Yeah.
it. All right, give
Then
me your
some
defense.
honorary mention.
No, give me your defense.
Kevin
Give
De
me your defense.
Bruyne.
Give me your defense.
My defense, it's like you said, Walker, Cole,
Okay.
Terry, and
Okay.
maybe I'll probably keep Ferdinand. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
All right.
replace Ferdinand with Vidic, but maybe I'll keep Ferdinand.
I always struggled with. I thought Ferdinand was the better player than Vidic, in my opinion. But it's a tough. Yeah, I'm okay with Ferdinand because when I think about Sol Campbell, I'm like, he was probably the more talented player, but was
he played for Spurs, so he's off it. He played
no,
for Spurs,
but was he more influential? I'm not sure was more influential than Ferdinand. When I think about
I don't think so. Also.
Yeah, I think I would keep Ferdinand, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, the three most egregious things on this list is Czech, Neville, and Aguero. Nah, no way.
It's not
no
that bad.
way.
It's not that bad. Czech is not a bad choice, but Schmeichel.
Neville is worse.
Someone young did this. Obviously, someone young did this.
Yeah. Recency bias and all.
But this is fun.
Anyway, so let me wrap up. Let's wrap up this whole our podcast today.
Yeah.
With my, I call it new. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to start doing this every week as the outro for the podcast.
Okay.
And it's a Donkey of the Week, So that's an award I'll be dishing out every week henceforth.
Okay.
I don't need to explain what I mean by donkey.
You've done it before,
right?
You've explained before.
I've done it before. So we have 4 nominees.
Oh Lord.
This week. Number 1, surprisingly, is your team Arsenal.
Oh Lord. The whole team?
The whole team.
Damn.
No, when is it Dundee United in Nigeria? That's what we're doing today. The whole team. God. No, for not showing up when it mattered most, the 2 losses to Villa and Bayern are not signs of a champion. They are still quality, mental, and consistency hurdles to cross by your team. So they get a nomination. They're not the winners. We'll announce the winner shortly.
Okay.
But they're the first nominee. Nominee number 2, Ronald Araujo, Barcelona
Lord.
Uruguayan defender. He had a major brain fart on that red card incident because he didn't have to. He could have just let the striker through. The keeper could have saved it. Worst case scenario, he could have scored, and it's 1-1. But you doing that, giving the red card, of fouling the striker, led to a red card, and you handed over the game to PSG. So you get my second nomination as Donkey of the Week.
Okay.
Nominee number 3 is Mr. Nicholas Jackson.
Oh, I'm shocked it didn't win.
Like I said earlier on, if it was part of Jackson 5, they will become Jackson 4.
Ouch.
-1.
Ouch.
I don't know what the blue streak, you don't need that. You don't need the flashy stuff. Cut off all your hair, play football. Maybe some fresh air will blow into your brains.
Ouch.
Play good football, score goals, and don't miss clear-cut chances like that. Okay? Mr. Jackson, you're my third nominee for Donkey of the Week. The last nominee entered encrypting this evening, and it's the most delusional coach I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, Lord.
Mr. Erik ten Hag. Today, after the game, he was asked if he considered the game to be an embarrassment. And I'll just quote him verbatim. I won't even... He said, let me look for it. He said, the game is not an embarrassment. I don't see that word. It's a huge achievement. Huge. He didn't even say it's an achievement. He said it's a huge achievement. We achieved 2 finals in 2 years. They're talking about the game. He has expanded the horizon to 2 finals in 2 years. From all the setbacks we've had, even today we had 3-3. And we need consistency from the ref because they should have given us a penalty. I don't know. I've been giving this guy a pass. We've been blaming the board, blaming the players. Is this not the most delusional coach you've ever witnessed in your life, Akin?
It's not good.
What happened in that Coventry game that is giving you this, let's look at it from a positive perspective? Where is the positive spin? Your team won and you couldn't even celebrate. Coventry were robbed, in my opinion. And you come out and you say this, and this is not the first time. He comes out, it's not his fault, it's not his player's fault. He's always looking to the other side. It's either, if it's not the ref, it's the opposing players, it's just something else, but not them, not him. And it's becoming annoying at this point. Yeah? So that's the fourth nominee for Donkey of the Week.
Who
and
won?
Drum rolls, please, as we tell you the winner is. You guys already know who won, right?
You have to tell us.
Of course, it's Mr. Eric Ten Hag. It is Mr. Eric Ten Hag. You are the coach of Manchester United.
Oh my gosh.
The club deserves more than this. The players deserve more than this. English football deserve more than this. That's an iconic club you're managing. You cannot manage to beat a Coventry City and still come and tell me it's a huge achievement. Come on, man. You can do better than that. You get inaugural Donkey of the Week. Please don't be on this list next week. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. On that note.
On that note, guys, thank you for listening in.
Oh my gosh.
We appreciate all the comments, all the interaction that we have on our social media platforms. Please keep them coming. As usual, subscribe, smash the notification bell so that you can get content as we release them. And we will see you all next week.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yinka. And we are out.